So at the end of the last video I spoke about the next step in my van conversion would be to put down the aluminium foil to fill in the gaps between the floor insulation and then put the plywood floor down on top. But what I had to do before that was to figure out exactly where I needed to put the seats that were going to be in the middle of the van, then drill the holes and then cut the holes out in the ply. So what I did was remove all the floor insulation before everything was secured down. I figured out exactly where I wanted the seats to be and then drilled the holes into the chassis. So that was the easy part. What I did next was I put all the insulation back down again and then placed the ply floor over that. I went underneath the van and then drilled up through the hole I'd already made. So that just poked a hole straight through the insulation and then up onto the plywood floor. Once that hole was marked on the plywood floor and the insulation, then I knew exactly where I needed to put the seats, and all I did was trace around the edge of the seat onto the plywood and the insulation, cut it out. Then when I knew exactly where everything needed to be, I used the old floor as a template to trace around and cut out the new fresh wood floor that I'm putting down. But before I can finalize that last step of securing the floor down, I need to go over all the gaps on the insulation and cover it with foil tape. So this is just the normal piece of foil tape. It's got paper on the back, you can measure it, it rips quite easily, and to stick it down all you do is peel off the paper and then apply that down onto the floor. So that's the aluminium tape down on the floor, done and dusted, and what that will help is prevent kind of the cold air from the steel underneath touching the warm air inside the van and causing condensation problems. Next step is to put the ply floor down, and I already have the new floor cut out, so all I have to do now is just fit it and screw it down. So that's the floor completely secured down. I drilled pilot holes everywhere I wanted to put a screw down, and then I drove the screws in with an impact driver to make sure that they went in properly and they're embedded so the floor is not moving. I actually ended up putting in the seats first before I put the floor down, just to make sure that everything was lined up and I wouldn't have any trouble getting the seats in after I put the floor down. So the next step I'm hoping to get done is build the bulkhead to go directly behind the seats in the crew area.